I'm glad to see you again. Sometimes it seems like fatigue just creeps up on us. But today, we'll explore together how to regain our ease and energy. Have you noticed that sometimes words seem to slip away, the names of loved ones suddenly escape your mind, or you walk into a room and completely forget why you came in? It really throws you off, doesn't it? And it's not just about age, as people often think. Our brain is an amazing, complex mechanism, like a vast garden where thoughts and memories are the flowers and trees, and neural connections are the paths between them. Over the years, if this garden isn't properly tended, some paths can become overgrown, and flowers can wither. And often, we ourselves, unconsciously, contribute to this decline. For example, an excessive love for sweets can cloud mental clarity, like a thick morning fog over the garden, or a lack of new experiences and social interaction. It's like a gardener stopping watering and weeding their garden, allowing it to become overgrown with the weeds of routine and loneliness. Poor sleep doesn't allow the brain to rest and clean house after the day's worries, and a lack of movement is like blocking the stream that nourishes the roots of our thoughts with life-giving water. But don't be discouraged. There are simple and accessible ways to help our garden of thoughts bloom again. Today, we'll talk about 5 such non-obvious habits that can accelerate forgetfulness and how, by replacing them, you can regain mental sharpness, good memory, and the joy of clear thinking. No heroic efforts or strict restrictions, just gentle steps towards better well-being. Stay with me until the end, and let's together make your memory your reliable ally. So, let's start with what we fuel our body with, and primarily, our brain. Think of your brain as the most precious and precise mechanism, say, like the engine of a high-class car. For it to run smoothly, it needs quality fuel, right? And what do we often give it? Sweet buns, candies, white bread, cakes, sugary yogurts, soda. It's like pouring cheap, low-quality gasoline with impurities into the tank of a racing car. What will happen? The engine will start sputtering, coughing, losing power, and eventually might just stall. Our brain reacts similarly to an excess of sugar and processed carbohydrates. They cause sharp spikes in blood glucose levels, first a burst of energy, quickly followed by a crash and brain fog. Over time, this gas brake mode wears down the blood vessels supplying the brain and contributes to chronic inflammation, which interferes with nerve cells communicating properly. This is where difficulties with concentration, forgetfulness, and the feeling that your head isn't working can come from. So, what should you do? Try gradually replacing this surrogate fuel with high-octane options. Instead of sweet pastries and candies, choose berries, fresh or frozen, a handful of nuts, walnuts, almonds, they are especially good for the brain, or a piece of dark chocolate, with at least 70% cocoa content. Replace white bread with whole grain bread or crackers made from wholemeal flour. Instead of sugary drinks, pure water, green tea, unsweetened fruit compote, or berry drink, Moors. I want to tell you the story of Beatrice. She is 69 years old. Beatrice always loved to treat herself. A cup of tea with biscuits after lunch, a piece of cake on weekends. These were her little rituals associated with comfort and warmth. "What's life without little joys?" she used to say. But over time, she began to notice that after these joys, it became difficult for her to concentrate. She started forgetting what was just said on the phone, or forgot why she went to the store. A certain mental sluggishness appeared, especially in the afternoon. She attributed it to fatigue and age, worried a little, but considered it inevitable. It seemed to her that denying herself her usual sweets meant depriving herself of her last comfort. Her granddaughter, seeing her condition, very tactfully suggested, "Grandma, how about we try replacing your biscuit after lunch with a handful of berries and nuts, just for a week, as an experiment?" Beatrice initially brushed it off, saying, "What nonsense, it's not the same at all." She felt uncomfortable even thinking about it, feeling like she was being deprived of something important, almost intimate. But her granddaughter was persistent, and Beatrice gave in. Imagine her surprise when, just a few days later, she felt the difference. That unpleasant drowsiness and heaviness in her head after eating disappeared. Her thoughts seemed clearer, sharper. She suddenly easily remembered the name of an actress from an old movie that she couldn't recall before. She felt not a sharp spike, but smooth, stable energy throughout the day. Physiologically, this is explained by the complex carbohydrates, proteins, and healthy fats, from the berries and nuts, providing her brain with a steady, long-lasting supply of energy without destructive sugar spikes. And psychologically, Beatrice felt proud of herself. A sense of control over her well-being and the anxiety about her memory began to recede. She realized that quality fuel allowed her engine to run smoothly and efficiently. So, you see, by replacing simple sugars and processed foods with whole, natural alternatives, you provide your brain with stable energy, improve concentration, memory, and mood. Try starting small. Tomorrow, replace your morning jam sandwich with oatmeal with berries or whole grain toast with avocado. Your brain will thank you for the quality fuel. But it's not just physical fuel that's important for our garden of thoughts. Just as muscles need exercise to avoid atrophy, our brain needs constant mental work to stay sharp. Routine and a lack of new challenges are a direct path to weakening cognitive functions. If days are identical, if we stop learning new things, thinking, solving problems, the brain, like an untrained muscle, begins to weaken. Those very neural connections, the paths in the garden of our memory, become thinner and overgrown without use. Passively watching television for hours, monotonous activities day after day. It's like letting the garden become overgrown with the weeds of indifference. The brain starts to get lazy, and remembering things becomes increasingly difficult. So, what should you do? Shake up your brain. Replace passive information consumption with active engagement. Instead of just watching a series, try solving a crossword puzzle or Sudoku. Borrow a book by a new author or genre from the library. Start learning something completely new. For example, a few phrases in a foreign language using a phone app, or research your family history. Even playing board games with grandchildren or friends is excellent training. Let me share the story of Eleanor. She is 68 years old. She worked as an accountant her whole life. Numbers, reports, her head was always busy. But when she retired, she felt an emptiness. The days became monotonous. Cleaning, cooking, television. And she began to notice with alarm that it was becoming harder to find words. She started forgetting the plots of recently watched movies, the names of actors. "My head feels like it's rusting," she sadly told a friend one day. It seemed to her that it was too late to learn something new, and why bother? Internally, she felt discomfort from this mental silence, but didn't know how to break it. Her friend advised her to enroll in computer literacy courses for seniors. Eleanor hesitated for a long time. Where would I, an old woman, bother with this computer? It'll be embarrassing in front of others. But she overcame her reluctance and went. And it was a revelation for her. She had to figure out new programs, remember sequences of actions, interact with new people. Her brain seemed to wake up. She felt excitement, interest again. And most importantly, she noticed that her memory improved. She found it easier to remember new information, and words were no longer getting lost. Physiologically, the new tasks stimulated the creation of new neural connections. The brain became more active. Psychologically, she felt capable and competent again, and this incredibly boosted her self-esteem. Our brain is like a curious child. It constantly needs new impressions and tasks to grow and develop at any age. Regular mental exercise will help maintain mental sharpness, improve memory, and concentration. Don't be afraid to try new things. Even 15 to 20 minutes a day dedicated to solving a puzzle or reading an informative article will bring immense benefits. Your mind is a treasure. Don't let it gather dust. And when we talk about stimulation for the brain, we must not forget another powerful source: live human interaction. While new knowledge and skills like Eleanor's train our brain from the inside, interacting with other people is like watering our garden of thoughts with life-giving moisture from the outside. It might seem unrelated. What's the connection between conversations and memory? But it's direct. Communication isn't just exchanging news. It's a complex process that engages many areas of our brain. We need to listen to the other person, understand their emotions, choose words for our response, recall related stories or facts, and follow the thread of the conversation. All of this is excellent training for cognitive functions. When we shut ourselves within four walls, when our social circle shrinks to a minimum, the brain is deprived of this vital stimulation. It switches on to full capacity less often, and over time, this can lead to memory decline and general mental sluggishness. Loneliness is like a drought for our garden of thoughts. What can you do? Consciously seek opportunities for interaction. Replace hours of silent solitude with a call to an old friend or relative. Don't turn down invitations to meet up, even if you initially don't feel like leaving the house. Look for clubs or interest groups for seniors in your area. It could be a choir, a craft group, a chess club, or simply a wellness group. Even a brief chat with a neighbor in the hallway or a cashier at the store is a step out of isolation. Remember George, 75 years old. After his children grew up and moved away, and his wife passed away, he started spending more and more time alone. The house used to be full of noise and conversation, but now, silence. Friends invited him fishing, or just to hang out, but George often refused, citing fatigue or low mood. What do I have to talk about with them? They have their own lives, he thought. Gradually, he noticed that not only his mood worsened, but his memory also began to fail him. He forgot appointments, confused names of acquaintances, asked the same things over and over. He felt disconnected from life, and this feeling amplified his forgetfulness. Internally, he felt bitter and lonely, but taking the first step towards people seemed incredibly difficult. One day, his neighbor, seeing his depressed state, literally took him by the hand to a meeting of the local gardening club. George had been passionate about flowers all his life. At first, he sat in the corner, silent, feeling awkward. But then someone asked his advice about roses, and George perked up. He started talking, sharing experiences, arguing, and suddenly realized he was interested. He felt needed, heard. Communication, shared interests, new acquaintances, all this seemed to breathe new life into him, and his memory started coming back. He needed to remember the names of new acquaintances, plant care tips, dates of the next meetings. His brain received the necessary workout. Physiologically, social interaction stimulates the production of hormones that improve mood and brain function. Psychologically, the feeling of belonging to a group, the sense of one's own significance work wonders. An active social life not only improves mood, but is also a powerful stimulant for your brain. Don't shut yourself off from the world. Call someone right now just to see how they are doing. It's a small step with great significance. So, we've talked about how important it is to nourish our brain with the right food, mental work, and social interaction during the day. But what happens at night? It turns out that quality sleep is equally crucial for our memory. Many of us start sleeping worse with age. Difficulty falling asleep, frequent awakenings during the night, waking up early feeling unrested. We often attribute this to age and resign ourselves to it, but we shouldn't. Sleep isn't just rest for the body, it's a time of active work for the brain. It's during sleep that the sorting of information received during the day occurs. Important information is sent to long-term memory, while unnecessary information is deleted. The brain conducts a kind of major cleanup, restores its resources, and removes toxic proteins accumulated during the day, which can contribute to memory problems. If sleep is insufficient or fragmented and shallow, this vital process is disrupted. The trash isn't removed, and necessary information isn't consolidated. Imagine a library where books aren't put back on the shelves after reading, but are simply piled up. Finding the right book in such chaos would be very difficult. The same thing happens in our brain with lack of sleep. As a result, the next day we feel tired, irritable, find it hard to concentrate, and forget everything. What can you do? Try to establish good sleep hygiene. Replace a chaotic schedule with a stable one. Go to bed and wake up around the same time, even on weekends. Create a bedtime ritual. An hour before sleep, turn off the TV and put away your phone. Their blue light interferes with the production of the sleep hormone melatonin. Take a warm bath, read a physical book, air out the bedroom. Avoid heavy dinners and caffeine in the afternoon. Perhaps a cup of warm milk or herbal tea, like chamomile or lemon balm, might help. Listen to the story of Margaret. She is 70 years old. She always prided herself on sleeping little. "I'm a night owl. 5 to 6 hours is enough for me," she used to say. She went to bed well after midnight, often woke up during the night, and struggled to get up in the morning. During the day, she felt sluggish, constantly drinking coffee to perk up, and she complained about her memory. "My head is like a sieve, nothing sticks. I just said it, and already forgot." It seemed impossible to her to change her long-standing sleep habits. She was just that kind of person. Internally, she suffered from constant fatigue and forgetfulness, but didn't directly link it to sleep. Her doctor advised her to try regulating her schedule. Margaret was skeptical, but decided to try it as an experiment. She started going to bed at 11 p.m., read a physical book before sleep instead of checking news on her tablet, and drank mint tea at night. The first few nights felt strange. She tossed and turned. But after just a week, she noticed she was falling asleep easier and waking up less often during the night. And most importantly, her daytime state changed. The constant drowsiness disappeared, energy appeared, her mood improved, and her memory. She suddenly realized she was better at remembering names, dates, her children's requests. It was as if her brain finally got the chance to rest and tidy up. Physiologically, regular and quality sleep allowed the brain to effectively consolidate memory and cleanse itself of toxins. Psychologically, the feeling of alertness and mental clarity brought back her joy of life. Sleep is not a luxury, but a vital necessity. It's like the night shift for a diligent housekeeper who brings perfect order to the rooms of our mind. By improving your sleep, you will not only enhance your memory, but also strengthen your immune system and overall well-being. Take care of your sleep. It's one of the most valuable gifts to your brain. Start small. Air out your bedroom before sleep tonight. And now we come to the last, but no less important point. We've provided the brain with the right fuel, given it mental exercise, remembered social interaction, and taken care of quality nighttime rest. But there's one more factor that directly affects the delivery of everything necessary to our brain: physical activity. What do legs have to do with the head, you might ask? The connection is direct. Our brain is a very energy-intensive organ. It consumes about 20% of all the oxygen entering the body, and oxygen and nutrients are delivered to the brain through the blood. When we move, walk, do exercises, work in the garden, our heart beats faster, blood circulation increases, and the brain receives more nourishment. This improves its function, helps maintain the health of brain blood vessels, stimulates the growth of new neurons and connections between them. Movement even promotes the production of special substances, neurotrophins, which act like fertilizer for nerve cells, helping them grow and survive. When we spend most of the day sitting, in an armchair in front of the TV, at a table with a book or needlework, blood flow slows down. The brain begins to experience a deficit of oxygen and nutrients, and its work slows down. This can be compared to a river that shallows and silts up if its current is too slow. A prolonged sedentary lifestyle can lead not only to problems with weight, joints, and the heart, but also to a decline in cognitive functions, including memory and thinking speed. What's the solution? Move. Replace long periods of sitting with feasible physical activity. You don't have to run a marathon or lift weights. Start small, a daily walk at a comfortable pace for at least 20-30 minutes. Light morning exercises, a few simple stretching and joint warm-up movements. Housework or gardening, that's movement too. Dance to your favorite music while cooking dinner. The main thing is regularity. I want to tell you about David, 77 years old. He had always been an active man, but after knee surgery, he started being careful, afraid of pain, and tried to walk less. He spent most of the day in his armchair with a newspaper or watching TV, and he began to notice that not only had he weakened physically, but his head also started working worse. He began forgetting his grandchildren's names, losing the thread of conversation, asking the same thing several times. He attributed it to age and the consequences of the surgery. He was afraid to strain his sore knee and felt like a prisoner of his condition. The internal discomfort from his own helplessness and forgetfulness grew. The physiotherapist he consulted about his knee developed a gentle exercise program for him and strongly recommended short daily walks. David started exercising without much enthusiasm, forcing himself. But after just a couple of weeks, he noticed amazing changes. His knee bothered him less, but the most striking thing, his head became clearer. He felt a surge of energy. His mood improved. He easily started solving crosswords again, which he had previously put aside because his head wasn't working. Physiologically, improved blood circulation provided the brain with necessary oxygen and nutrients, stimulating its activity. Psychologically, the feeling that he could control his body and mind again restored his confidence and zest for life. Movement is like a pump that continuously pushes life-giving blood to our brain, preventing it from stagnating and maintaining its efficiency. Regular physical activity improves memory, attention, reaction speed, and provides a boost of energy. Find the type of movement that brings you pleasure and make it a part of your life. Even a short walk in the fresh air can work wonders for your brain. So, we have discussed 5 habits that can subtly undermine our memory. The wrong fuel in the form of sugar and processed foods, lack of mental stimulation, social isolation, poor sleep, and a sedentary lifestyle. My dear friends, please remember, your age is not a sentence and not a reason to give up. It is a time of wisdom, priceless life experience, and immense inner potential. You have lived a long, rich life, and you absolutely deserve to continue feeling well, maintaining mental clarity, and enjoying each new day. There's no need to try to change everything at once. That can only cause stress and resistance. Start small, with one step that seems easiest and most achievable for you right now. Remember the stories of Beatrice, Eleanor, George, Margaret, and David. They faced difficulties, doubts, but found the strength to change their habits and felt the results. And you can too. Your health, your memory, your clarity of thought are largely in your own hands. Show yourself a little patience, care, and love. Believe in your strength because you have it, and your brain will surely reward you with its reliable work and the ability to enjoy life to the fullest.